rilrestaurant. Okay, so we'll come to finding out what that means. We'll also go through the English thereafter. Now remember, you have to know everything in Afrikaans. You need to know your figures of speech. You need to know how to answer everything in Afrikaans. So they'll ask you on your figures of speech. They'll ask you to explain certain parts and so forth. Okay? Almal is welkom. Bring die hele gesin. Staan nader, kom gerus in. Die tafel is gedek, alles is gereed. Maak u reg om heerlik te eet. So here in Real 1 to 9, klink soos 'n normale restaurant, nooi mense te kom. So lines 1 to 4, it sounds like a normal restaurant. They're inviting people to come into the restaurant. Now you see it's highlighted in red. Staan nader. Now this is important. You must make all these notes in your book, and so you know the figures of speech. So staan nader. This line 2, it's highlighted in red. So it says come closer, come closer. It's herhaling. So it's herhaling. This figure of speech is herhaling. So they're quoting this twice. Staan nader. So the herhaling, sometimes they ask you that question, wat beklemtoon? Die herhaling, meaning what does this staan nader mean? Come closer, emphasize. So what does it beklemtoon? It did beklemtoon hoe vriendelijk hy is. So it's emphasizing how friendly he is. Okay, and then here in line 4 we see it's in bold, the two E's, herlik eet. So the double E's in both is called assonancy, that double E, that EE in both parts we see. So the EE in heerlik eet is assonancy, that double E. So remember that figure of speech. So we've got herhaling, staan nader, die herhaling, beklemtoon, emphasizes how friendly he is, hoe vriendelijk hy is. And then we've got EE here, heerlik en eet, is assonansie. Okay, let's read line 5. Die diens is dalk dooierig, maar dis met 'n rede. So it says that the service is a bit slow, but it's for a reason. Skok, die kelner is nie 'n lewende mens. So here it's the reason that the service is slow is because the waiter is not an alive person, it's a dead person. But you see the D's. So you see when there's a sentence and the first letter that is the same, like see, diens, dalk, dooierig. You see there's D. That is alliteracy. So remember the D is alliteration. Maybe if it was also A, or B, that would have been alliteration. So the first front letters, the D is your alliteration in versreel 5 in line 5. U kelner is al 'n jaar terug oorlede. So it says here, this instead of writing it, there's a normal writing of terug, but they wrote it terug. They left out the E. So the waiter has died a year ago. Wil u so lank 'n drankie bestel? Would you like to order a drink? So he's pretending like everything is normal, but we saw in the previous lines, in line 5, that the kelner is dood. The waiter is dead. So the word for waiter is kelner. Kelner. So that's the waiter. The waiter's dead. Okay, so here he makes, if everything is normal, he asks, would you like to order a drink? Of moet ek u eers van disse vertel? So it says, Karen sal die spacecard verduidelik. So it says here, or should I rather tell you about the dishes on the menu? Ons hoofgereg is presies wat dit sê. So now they're going to describe. They're saying our main course is exactly what it tells you on the menu. Alright, so now we're trying to figure out that as we come to see that this is not a normal restaurant, but we'll see it in the following lines. Ons hoofgereg is presies wat dit sê. They're going to describe. 'n kop op 'n skinkbord. 'n kop op 'n skinkbord. Nes uit dit wil hê. So it's disgusting because they're saying it's a head on a platter, so a head on a plate. So there we're seeing assonancy. You can see the O's in the middle, O, and O, that's assonancy. Here we saw assonancy was the E's in the middle, EE and EE, that was assonancy. Here we've got O's, D's in the front, D and D, that is alliteracy. So here we've got assonancy. So they're saying here in line 10, a head on a, served on a plate. Medium goed, gaar of likkies gestoom. So it says medium rare, grilled or lightly steamed. So you see the cheese in the front is alliteratie. So they'll say, what's the figure of speech? It's a alliteratie. Halfvrou is dit 'n fyn proeësdrom. Carol maak asof die kos die beste ding ooit is. So the waiter's acting as if it's the best food ever. So he says half raw, it's the best dish, it's the finest dish. Maar dit is natuurlik oorhaastig van my. But it's naturally overhasty of me or rushingly of me. Want u gaan tog seker eers voorgereg kry. So there's a woordspel. So 14 is a spell because the actual word is voorgereg, but they said voorgereg. So you see there it's a woordspel. So voorgereg is a starter. Voor betekent sleg. So there's a play on words there. They've used a play on words. Instead of voorgereg, they're saying voorgereg, meaning the starter is not quite nice. Die voorgereg, which is the actual word, die voorgereg is baie lelik, meaning the starter is very ugly. So they've used the play on words here. They said voorgereg instead of saying voorgereg to indicate that the starter is not something good. Dit beteken iets sleg. So you see, dit beteken iets sleg. Paddevissetjies in 'n vagvet gebraai. So it's ugly, it's disgusting because they've got, I think, fried frogs. En ons maand ouer vliegsop is nie te versny. So they're saying a month old soup, a month old fly soup because there's flies in it. So it's disgusting, it's rotten. Dooie goed wat rot sis. So it says dead stuff that is rotting. It's a month old soup with flies in it. Dan om u ete meer af te sluit. Gewoonlik eet 'n mens nagereg na die hoofmaal. So they say here usually a person eats dessert after the main course. So moet u op 'n heerlike nagereg besluit. So you must decide on a tasty dessert, woordspel, nagereg. So instead of saying pudding, they said nagereg. Nar beteken dit laat jou siek voel. So they put, instead of saying instead of deciding on a nice dessert by saying pudding, instead of saying pudding, they used woordspel. They said naargereg. So meaning naar means disgusting, means like you want to vomit. When you're feeling naar, meaning you're feeling sick. So now they've used a woordspel there. Instead of saying pudding, they said naargereg to make you feel sick, to give you that disgusting feeling. Oogappeltjies met suurlemoenesap. So they're saying eyeballs with lemon soup. So the S, you see the S here, and here is alliteratie. So which person would eat eyeballs? 20. Of lekker soet bloed uit meisie getap. So they said nice sweet blood out of a mouse. So who drinks mouse blood? See, so the OE that's repeated, OE and OE here, that is assonantie, the OE in the middle. That's your assonantie again. Wat nou, u voel naar, wil jy liever uit? So they're asking now, what now? Are you feeling disgusted? Are you feeling like you want to vomit? Do you want to rather leave? So people now want to get out of there. Meneer, luister mooi. Dis 'n slegte besluit. So they're saying, Mister, listen carefully. It's a bad decision. So they're showing you that something worse would come if you decide to leave. So it's aklik sal gebeur as jy wil loop. So something bad is going to happen now if you would then like to leave. So you see the M's, M and M here is alliteratie. Om te probeer wegkom is regtig nie wys. So they're saying trying to leave is not wise. You see the W's, W and W here is your alliteratie. Okay, so now, where was I? Yeah, the W's are alliteratie. So they're saying it's not a clever plan if you would like to leave the restaurant. Ons kok hou op top daar uit die kombuis. So you see assonantie twice here. Kok and top is assonantie, and the UI and the UI here uit die kombuis. So it's assonantie. It means the cook is watching you from the kitchen. Dis nie dat ek uw gesin wil ontstel. So it's ironies, this ironies, it's irony, this line is irony because he says, not like I would want to upset your family, but you're already upset by sitting here in this restaurant. Yes, klaar ongesteld. So the D is your alliterasie. Maar dit sal verkeerd wees om nie te vertel nie. So there's eerlikheid, there's honesty. They said it would be wrong not to tell you. Ons kok is a monster in die laaste gesin. So our cook is a monster and the last family. So they're telling the truth about the cook, the chef. The O and the O is your assonantie again, I think. Wat hulle kos nie wou eet nie is chok en plok in. So it says here it's the O is assonantie. So the cook has eaten the last family that didn't want to eat their food. The mother, the mama, the papa, the oma, and the kind. So the mother, the father, the child, and the granny. Die hele ou klompie met een hap verslind. So he ate everyone just in one bite. So sit toch nou liever, daar is mos geen haas. So they're saying, sit here rather, there's no rush. Is jy gereed om 'n bestelling te plaas? Are you ready to make your order? So we see here, we have alliterasie and assonantie here. The S and the S is your alliterasie, and the AA and the AA is your assonantie. So here at the bottom, we have the same thing, but it's translated to English for you. Now the explanation of the poem. So wat beteken ril? So restaurant, we know is restaurant, and ril means the ril in Engels is to shudder or to shiver. Ril is in die konteks is kort vir die woord rille, wat weer Engels beteken spatula or thriller. So it's a thriller poem. Okay, the rhyme schema, this is important. They would ask you what is the rhyme pattern. So it's a paar rhyme. That's the name of the rhyme scheme. The rhyme schema is a paar rhyme. It's AAPP. So just remember that by heart. There's a paar rhyme. It's AAPP. Here we have our questions and answers. So we have voorsien die gedig van 'n nuwe gepaste titel. So give the poem a new suitable title. So you'll say Gil Restaurant or Toya Restaurant is enige gepaste antwoord. So you'd say Lelike Restaurant. That would be your own words or your own choice of what it would be. Then it says here, kies die korrekte antwoord, skryf slegs die korrekte vraagnommer en antwoord op jou aanstel. So give the correct answer and write your answer down. Just answer. So rol restaurant would be personification, it'll be metaphor, vergelijking, personification, or neologisme. So I would think it would be metaphor. Skryf 'n voorbeeld van herhaling uit neer. So we saw at the top we had herhaling, which was staan nader, that's your herhaling. Waaroor handel die gedig? So they're asking waaroor handel, meaning what is it about? So what is the poem about? It's oor 'n gesinsrestaurant waar die kos, kernels en kok dood of bonser is. So it's a family restaurant where the cooks, waiters and food is either dead or it's monsters. Wat 'n woord in verswoord 5 verlope van wat gaan gebeur? So what word in line 5 is going to tell you what's going to happen? So toyerig would have been that word. That's going to tell you what's going to happen. So toyerig indicates now they're going to tell you in the next lines that the waiters are dead. In versdeel 9 word die woord hoofgereg letterlik of figuurlik gebruik. So they're saying hoofgereg, is it used as literally or figuratively? So it's literally, it's a regte hoofkop op 'n skinkbord. It's an actual head on a plate. So it's used literally. Wat die twee woorde in versdeel 11 en 12 beteken dieselfde. Likkies gestoom, so light steamed, and half raw. So it's lightly steamed and half raw because it's not fully cooked. They mean the same thing. So I said, what is the rhyme schema? Wat is die rympatroon van die versdeels? AAPP. So that's your rhyme patroon. Paar rhyme. Verduidelik die gebruik van die ellipsis in versdeel 22. So what's the purpose of the ellipsis? The 3 dots in line 22. Dit is asof die kalender besluit moet neem om die familie te vertel werklik in die restaurant aangaan. It's as if the waiter is deciding to tell the family what's actually going on in the restaurant. So they're leaving lines, wait for the waiter to tell you what's happening in the restaurant. Skryf 'n voorbeeld van 'n literasie uit versreel 11. So I've shown you what's your alliterations in all the lines. Medium goed, gaar of likkies gestroom. So the G and the G is goed gaar and gestroom. So that's your alliteration, that line. Verduidelik wat ons vraag is. Dis 'n vraag wat nie 'n antwoord verwag nie. So explain what is a rhetoric question. So it's a question that does need an answer. Haal 'n voorbeeld van 'n retoriese vraag uit die leesstuk aan. So you could have been any one of these. That would be your rhetoric questions, ones that don't have an answer. Verduidelik die aanpassing in versieel 14 en 15. Hoekom dink jy die digter die woorde so gespel? So explain the suitability in lines 14 and 18, and why do you think the poet wrote the words like that? Die voorgereg word voorgereg want die paddevissetjies en vliegsop kan nie lekker wees nie. So they wrote it that way. And remember I explained, they wrote voorgereg is voorgereg. You can say want die kos is nie lekker nie, dit kan nie lekker wees nie. Die nagereg word nagereg want oogakkopies en meesblad sal jou nar maak. So it's you could say die woord nagereg is skryf nagereg want die kos sal jou nar maak. So because the food would make you nar. Wat het die monster met die gesin gedoen want nie kos wou eet nie. So they say haal 3 woorde uit. They want 3 words. So what did the chef do to the family that didn't eat their food? Een hap verslind. So you're quoting that out of the passage. They want 3 words. So you ate them in one helping. So that's the poem.